Hey guys, how we doing today? This is Wally with LearningNet.com, and today I wanted to talk to you about how to write blog posts, whether it's for SEO, just writing articles in general for WordPress. Obviously, if you're at this point and you're watching this video, you're looking for ways to see how to write blog posts on your newly created website. And so, what I was going to do today is to give you guys at least 10 tips that have worked for me to help me to create blog posts a lot faster online. So obviously you've already got your web hosting, you've purchased that already, you've installed WordPress hopefully by this point, and now it's just all about creating content. One of the first things that I wanted to talk to you about, at least something that's helped me in the past, is to be relaxed. I mean, obviously on this video right now, I'm right here in my living room. I always like to just pick up a place that's quiet, no distractions, no kids. I don't have any kids, but just in general, if you have kids, you want to have them maybe in a separate location. Maybe they're outside playing. You just in an office space somewhere where you're quiet, where you don't have any disruptions at all, no noise at all. And that's very important, I think, because if you don't have any distractions, anything to interrupt you, you'll have a free flow of thoughts. You'll be able to think, more freely and be able to write a lot faster. So that's one of the first things that I wanted to mention is that if you have kids, have them in a separate, location, just in a quiet spot, your office space, your living room, your bedroom, wherever it is that you want to, do your writing, or even in a library. You can do it anywhere as long as it's a quiet location where you can think freely. That's point number one that I wanted to mention. The second step, or at least one of the second thoughts that I had in mind when it comes to writing posts for SEO or for your WordPress itself, is to think about long-tailed keywords. Now, long-tail keywords itself, if you don't know already, are typically like 3 to 5 or more words that are typed in on Google. So these are long terms or phrases that people typically will use online on Google or even maybe on YouTube to then find, different pieces of content. And so with your post itself, when you're writing your post on your blog, the reason you want to use long tail keywords is that one, they're far less competitive, and two, it's more specific to what people are searching online itself. And what I recommend is that my blog itself, I kind of talk about I do a lot of reviews on like web hosting and things of that nature, amongst other products that I've tried and I like to review. And so I recommend that when you're writing blog posts, in your WordPress blog, that you want to write about something that you are knowledgeable about. Maybe it's something that you have a passion about, and in turn, you want to provide a solution to your readers. Again, something that you're passionate about, you may be knowledgeable about it, maybe you have experience with it, but then also you're providing a solution, because obviously if somebody's coming to your blog, they want a solution. They're not only reading about the topic, but maybe you're going to be answering a question to something that, they're searching for. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is, when you're writing content, it's very important to use an outline. Outlines kind of just help to divide up your post into smaller sections, if you will, called like subheadings. And with that, you're going to be using different variations of your targeted keyword. So in each subheading, obviously you're going to start out with your introduction, but each subheading thereafter, you're going to be using your keyword, your targeted keyword, or a variation of it in each one of those subheadings as you write, your blog post itself. And so the benefit of that, I kind of compare it to, a person eating a meal. If you're eating dinner or just eating like, smaller courses, I mean, you can really appreciate all the taste, with the food itself by taking your time. And so, versus having like a big block of like, information, it's just like so bland. It's just like, I don't know, like 1,000 words, and it just looks like a complete block. Nobody's going to read through that. But if you divide it up, into portions, just like you're eating a meal, then, obviously your readers will thoroughly appreciate that. So using an outlines, obviously help you to organize your thoughts. That way you can speak, more freely. You can speak more in an organized fashion, and your blog articles itself will sound more, coherent, and it'll be easier to understand by your readers. So that's a step three that one of the third tips rather that I wanted to mention to you guys today. Um, when it comes to before you actually get into like the meat of your blog post itself, you want to start off with a really good introduction. And I think an introduction really explains, why your visitor came to your website in the first place. They want obviously an answer to a question that they're looking for on Google. And you can start out your introduction, I think, with either one or two questions that the reader itself is already thinking about. And that's why they arrive to your website. Your introduction is short and sweet. Reading the time, it could probably take them a quick 10 to 15 seconds to read it. It's something that's very brief. It's not like long-winded or anything like that, where they have to read like several paragraphs, of an introduction where you haven't really, detailed what it is yet, But again, I think it's best to just have a very brief, short introduction that asks or pose a question that your readers are already searching for, and that allow them to land, on your website itself. Next, something that I like to do, guys, on my blog itself when I write reviews is I like to tell the readers what they're going to expect in the review. Let me repeat that. Tell your visitors what they're going to expect in your review or your post that you're writing on your blog itself. You want to do that because now, okay, you've given them a question. You've asked a question or two as an introduction. Now you have their attention on your blog, but now you're going to tell them what they're going to expect in your actual post itself. In other words, how is it that you're going to answer that very question that you pose to them in the introduction itself? And so once that is in place, then now you have your readers' attention, and they'll continue to read your article, your post that you have on your blog itself. I mentioned about earlier about kind of like divvying up your blog posts into like subheadings, and why it's easier for your readers to be able to like find you, like rather to follow you when you're actually writing things. I have several blog posts on my blog itself. You can check out any one of them itself. One in particular, if you go to learnernet.com and type in once driven review, or actually you can Google it right now, like in a separate tab, type in once driven review. That's a long tail keyword, right? And once you do that, you're going to see that my blog post for learnernet.com comes up on page 1 for Google for that long-term keyword. So once driven review. And basically what that was a post that I did some time ago about, like some like telemarketers or people that were calling, trying to help me supposedly to sell my car. And so I just, wrote a post based on that. And you could look at the introduction that I did. It's just a mere example. Look at the introduction and, check out the different subheadings or questions that I ask. And then, from that point, allowing people to, drop their feedback and comments at the very bottom. So check out that. It's just an example of many on my blog itself at learnernet.com. You can, again, just Google the long tail keyword once driven review. And that's just one example of many where you can read that particular blog post and you can see an example of what I'm talking about. Another point that I wanted to mention is adding images to your blog itself. So, obviously you have your outline and everything is all broken up, which is great. But it's really nice that, in every other subheading or so, maybe you can include like an image, a picture. And I think, obviously, how does the saying go? Like 1,000, you can describe a picture with 1,000 words. I mean, there are different variations of that saying. You probably have your own, but you guys get the idea. If you're actually reading something and it's just all text from the very beginning to the very end, and it's like 2,000 words. I mean, it could be boring. A person could probably lose. You could probably lose a person's attention, your reader's attention. So I think when you add like images, pictures, and things of that nature, like, on the actual blog post itself that you're writing for WordPress, it'll help to maintain a person's image. They'll probably appreciate your blog post even more. So it won't appear as boring, when they're reading. And you can also add like video. If you don't have like images, you can, in addition to images, rather, you can add video, embed like YouTube videos like this one, create like a brief video that's probably, a minute, 2 minutes, or even 5 minutes long based on the actual topic that you're talking about. And you can embed that right on your blog post itself, all of which helps with your Google rankings. So when you add video, you add images with your alternate text, keywords inserted there. It also helps with your Google rankings online as well. So that's something that definitely you can do with your blog post when you're writing. Another thing that I wanted to mention that's very, very important, guys, is outlinking, having like outbound links, with your blog itself. You may see that on my blog itself at learningnet.com. I don't claim to be like the expert on web hosting or the expert on this review or the expert on that. But what I do is I'm writing articles based on my experience using that product. So, I may not be the absolute best writer in the world. There are far better writers out there than I am. I've probably been writing for a far long time, maybe longer than I've been born. But I think when you write an article that you are providing, helpful information to your reader, it's always good to like outsource or just use outbound links. You link to maybe another authoritative website that, has more information about that. And it's not to take away from your content itself, but again, it's another factor that I've learned that helps with Google ranking itself. So a good example of this, if you want to know, is you can type in like in Google WP engine alternatives, or you can go to my website at learningnet.com, and you can type in the search bar on the upper right, WP alternatives. So it's a web post that I was talking about or wrote about some time ago. And once you go to my website, or if you type in Google WP engine alternatives, or competitors rather, you type in that and just drop down in the search listings there for LearnerNet, the post itself, click on that. And once you do that, if you go about midway down, you'll see where I actually linked out. I was talking about different authoritative websites, two of which that I mentioned with Matt Woodard and Shout Me Loud, which are very popular blogs, online, that were talking about this very web hosting company. And so I linked out to them because they too, mentioned about some things they didn't like about this particular, web hosting company. So I linked out to them, and that gave me, I believe that it gave me a boost in my rankings itself. And so that's something that you want to do. You want to link out to maybe 2 or 3 different authoritative websites that are in your genre itself, or that have to deal with that very topic that you're talking about. And in that way, again, it'll help out with the rankings itself for your blog posts. Another thing that you want to do too, guys, when you're writing a blog post for SEO or just, for your WordPress, you want to include a disclosure, especially if you're an affiliate marketer. If you're an affiliate marketer and you're creating content or creating blog posts for your site with the objective of selling maybe like a product on the back end, you always want to start off your blog post, or somewhere in that blog post, preferably at the very top, have a disclosure or disclaimer, and that way you can be compliant with the FTC. It's very, very important. You don't want to be selling products, writing content, selling products on your website and not have that disclosure. Is very, very important, for legal purposes as well. If you have trouble like writing and you're not a good writer, and you want like help with it, a really good site that I came across is Fiverr. You may or may not have heard about it. I'll include a link below as well. That way you can check it out. Basically, it's a site where you can be connected with like freelancers and individuals that like to write or even create videos, and they'll do it for you for very cheap. If you're interested in that, just drop a link below, and that way you guys can check that out as well. The last thing that I wanted to mention, guys, is obviously your conclusion. Once you have your introduction, your title, your keywords sprinkled, throughout your content itself, your images, videos, all of these things that again help to retain your readers' attention. You want to bring it home, and you do that with your conclusion itself. Your conclusions, they don't have to be too drawn out, too long. What I like to do is just resume briefly what it was that we learned, just like we're doing right now in this video, and hopefully with that to guide your reader to a decision. So if you're selling a product on the back end, like an affiliate marketing product, you're bringing everything home and showing them now why is it that they should purchase the product. And that's just an example itself. If you're just writing a review on something in general, what I like to do is to invite readers to comment on the post itself. The comment on the post itself, tell me what they thought, was most impressive to them, what did they like most about the topic that I was discussing. And by doing that, it creates engagement for your blog post itself. So what did you guys think about, this video? I wanted to keep this video pretty short, direct, be transparent, give you some basic ideas that have helped me over the past couple years that I've been, online, writing blog posts, not only for learningnetwork.com, but for some other mini sites that I put up. What do you guys think about these tips that I've given you today? Did you find them helpful? If so, I'd really appreciate it if you guys gave it a thumbs up right now, and also hit the subscribe button. That way, any future videos that I put up, guys, you'll be sure to get them, and you can stay on top of not only web hosting tips, but also just reviews in general, things that I release on my channel. So give this video a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that, and also I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel, and also share this video online with others if you found it helpful. Drop your comments below. Tell me again what you like most about this video. Which of the points that I mentioned today did you find, to be the most helpful to help you to create, blog posts itself? Hopefully on a future video, what I'll do is show you, like with WordPress itself, and we can get, more involved with this. But I really, really appreciate and hear your comments below, and to tell me what you thought, guys, about this video. All right. Thank you so much for